Thank you. And thanks for being here. We're here with a great Dutch delegation. Feel very welcome to be here. Especially also very welcome because this week, totally by accident, I realized that in a speech last year, uh, Prince Charles mentioned our company at a Waste to Wealth conference on the October 22nd, and he said they've developed a digital. Where they said it was intrigued to hear about an innovative approach being developed in the Netherlands by a company called the Excess Material Exchange. Deeply honored by that, and it's great. And he said they have developed a marketplace where companies can exchange materials and products, and which seeks to identify the highest value uses, which is still at the pilot stage, but does look promising as an example of a new way that might help unlock the full potential of the circular economy. I don't know who informed him, but it was very accurate, and I'm very thankful for that, and also deeply honored. So what we are, or how we like to describe ourselves, is as a dating site for secondary materials, where we actively match supply and demand and materials with their highest reuse potential. So we basically bring together suppliers and buyers of excess materials, including waste, but also value-added providers. So any organization that is required to make transactions happen. So think of logistical parties, but also legal partners, banks, but also governments and other institutes. A royal endorsement is not a guarantee for success. There's many challenges. We see that from in the pilot that we've done, that Prince Charles described, that we've done last year, seen many challenges. We've sort of divided them in process-related challenges, which is a lot about quantity, quality, and timing. So a lot of times when excess materials are released, the quantity is a bit off, or the quality is not guaranteed. Quality, being able to re-guarantee products would be a great asset, but it's not happening yet. And then also timing, when a building is demolished, for example, there's not an immediate demand for those materials, and storage is expensive. Then on the other side, on a more organizational level, we see that a lot of very enthusiastic companies are trying to close loops locally, which is great, but is often suboptimal. And we also see that they try to squeeze in circular solutions within their traditional linear business models, which also creates sort of friction. And then there's sort of a lack of urgency. The Netherlands has stated that they want to be 50% circular by 2030, which is great. But also a lot of companies are like, well, 2030 is still quite a bit off. And that leads to that solutions are hard to scale, but it's compounded by the fact that there's a lack of transparency. A lot of companies don't know that some of their neighbors may have materials that they can plug into their processes. Now we solve that with a sort of a suite of digital tools. We have a resources passport, which gives excess material flows or waste an identity, and it sort of looks like this, where we disseminate what a waste stream consists of, find new uses for it, and also quantify the financial value of it, but also the impact that you may avoid by having that high value reuse option. We have a partnership with Ernst & Young, and with them we've developed a methodology to more effectively quantify the environmental impact that we can save. And then we use various track and trace identifiers like RFID chips and barcodes to sort of tie the digital twin, the resources passport, to the real life asset. And then we have a matchmaking framework that's AI powered. It's still in its infancy, but we're feeding it with lots of data. And as the data is accumulating, the matchmaking becomes more effective and relevant. And then what we do, and perhaps what distinguishes us from other similar platforms, is that we are cross-industry and cross-sector. Because we see that by connecting different industries and sectors, it becomes sort of easier to find new destinations for these materials. And also it often requires less additional energy or manipulations to make those materials available again. And a great example of that is carpet. 1.6 million kilograms of carpet is being wasted every year. 98% of that is being landfilled or burned. A lot of that has to do is that These carpets don't have a identity and they're just chucked down the same container. Some of them can be reused readily. Others are toxic because they're not made in Europe and have to be burned. But because they are all thrown on the same heap, the only thing you can do is burn it, which is a shame because if you look at it, and this is sort of how we work as a platform, it's highly complex and confusing, but that's sort of how the circular economy is. It requires loads of new interactions. Is that if you look at a carpet, usually consists of these 7 materials, which is wool, nylon 6/6, nylon 6, bitumen, acryl. If you are able to take all these elements out of the carpet, you can actually um, provide feedstock for all these industries on the left side, ranging from packaging, furniture, construction, automobile, apparel, aerospace. So creating that, creating matches in between sectors and industries is actually very interesting, and it's complicated and difficult, but highly valuable, and does create more interactions where a digital platform such as ours actually is quite useful. We've done that for a lot of materials. I just want to highlight a couple of cases. We're looking at reusing railroad tracks as construction beams, which I really like, working with Arup, among others. Looking at using synthetic fibers into carpets, using the railroad dividers, sleepers, I'm not sure what the British term is for that, into walls, but also actually using them as anti-terrorist blocks, which is a high demand for these days, and you can actually use them quite well for that. And also using the platform to just reuse materials at the same level, like using ceiling elements as ceiling elements, facades as facades, or wood as wood. And we've done that for many more materials: orange peels, coffee waste, lampposts, electric wires, carpet, packaging, floodlights, sludge, dynamic traffic signs, and what we've seen is the impact of that is actually quite huge. Actually, the combined weight of the materials that we looked at in the pilots, about 18 flows, is 70,000 tons. There's about 7 Eiffel Towers. All found high-value new uses for it. And the impact is financially the value is between 11 and 35 million euros per year, on top of an average saving of, or a total saving of 5.5 million euros per year. But also the energy use that we can save by those high-value next destinations. You could power the 3 biggest cities, the public lighting in the 3 biggest cities for 5 years. And the CO2 emissions that we can save is equal to 850,000 car rides from Amsterdam to Copenhagen, which basically means that the whole city of Amsterdam would drive to Copenhagen. And also the water use that we will save is equal to 11 million Dutch people per year. So you see that these 18 flows, 70,000 tons, which really is not that much, has an enormous impact, an enormous positive impact on the environment, but also on the finances of our clients, which is great. And that award, or that approach led us to several awards, which actually didn't turn out that great, but I'm just going to run you through it. We're my business partner Mike, who can't be here. She was selected by MIT as one of the 35 MIT 35 under 35 innovators. We're an Accenture Innovation Award finalist. We're part of the Ellen MacArthur Foundation as well, and highly recommended in the Circle Awards. And then also actually in Amsterdam, we won an important call to help our digital tools make the city more circular, which was combined with a very generous subsidy of €500,000. And yeah, open for any questions afterwards if you're interested in our tools and in our solutions. So thank you very much.